Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to, well, it's not really game day with Heavy Cardboard, is it? It's just y'all and me going over the library. So, welcome to Library Tour Part 2, I guess, here at HCHQ. Here it is, day 8 of the HC Advent 24 days of live streaming and 26 live streams in 24 days. Whew, all right, so we are officially a third of the way through after tonight's live stream of Glory to Rome for our patrons. So yeah, welcome everybody. Thanks for everybody for joining me. Should be a good time. It's going to be a shorter one than the first one was. I think the first one was three and a half hours. That was just excessive. But this aspect or this part of the library is definitely considerably smaller than the first part. So this is going to definitely be, at least should be, shorter. So thanks everybody for joining. So I figure instead of, you know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. We will briefly go over, for those that missed it, the first part of the tour, and then we will introduce the second part of the tour. How's that? Yeah? That work? All right. So, oh, somebody counted. Let's see, 5, 10, 20. You're right. Well, 56 Glory to Romes since episode 50, Giovanni, since that started. 2 big ones for Xfinity, and then 4 from viewers to us. So, so yeah, cool. All right, so let's here. It's going to be a whole lot easier to do it this way. Yeah, all right, Geo, whatever. All right, so here, let's go ahead and briefly go over Library Tour Part 1, all right? All right, so this is the main part of the library here. This is what we call our library, our room. The stuff that we're going to be going over today is not inside this room. And I should also note that all of the Essen games are not included in either Part 1 or Part 2, because Part 1 happened before Essen, and Part 2 I kind of did 3 unboxing videos, so I figured that kind of covered all the new stuff from Essen. And plus, it's still a mess trying to get everything organized, and we haven't done that. So this is our main library, which is now in the basement. That table and that chair on the left, on the far side of the table there, is actually where we started live streaming. That's where I would sit underneath the tripod with the tripod over my head with the camera aiming straight down at the table. Oh, how far we've come in well under a year. So that's pretty cool, I think. So yeah, that's the big overview of the library right there. But I'll go ahead and take you through very briefly, very quickly, all of the pictures that I used for the first library tour. All right, so here we go. All right, so well, actually, hold on. Before I do that, let me also clarify that over here on the left side are all war games, and we're going to go clockwise starting from the very left there in that picture. All right, cool. All right, so let's go. So here we have, well, compliments of GMT, right? I mean, it's all GMT war games. So there's that, and you guys can always go back afterwards and pause it. I'm not going to talk about any of the games that are in here, just going to very briefly go over all of this. And yes, Dave, this was a purpose-built basement. This library also is a bedroom because technically it does have a closet. It doesn't have any doors on the closet. So this will be, when we finish the basement, we added 2 bedrooms, a master bedroom, and then this one. So yeah, all right. So that's the first part of that last stack of wall of the war games. Then keep going down, more GMT, and then other publishers. So yeah, there you go. So that's the majority of the war games. Then coming over there in between, we have our collector's edition Twilight Struggle. We have the 2nd edition prototype of Railroads up there in the windowsill. And over to the right there is Three Kingdoms Redux. That has a very special place in my heart because that's the very first review copy that we ever got. from Christina and Youster over at Starting Player. So yeah, that will permanently stay in our collection. And then we have the Imperios, Millenarios, and Mega Civ down there at the bottom. And then moving over, this is the rest of the war games. The first three shelves there are all war games there. And then the fourth shelf and the fifth shelf are games in which we're considering getting rid of. We're not sure. And then the Felds there at the bottom. So here's a close-up now of those. So more war games, the blocks at the very top shelf. And then Columbia and others as we continue to go work our way down. So that's all the war games that are in our collection. Then working our way down, we have two shelves of, we may be getting rid of these, we may not. And then we have the Felds down below. And this is 2/3 of what we consider the main wall, that back wall of the library. So now we'll actually go through these a little bit more in detail real quick. So at the very top shelf are all the fillers, and then you guys can kind of piece together what everything else is. It's all done either by a theme, i.e. Civ games in the bottom right there, or all Spielworks there on the next to the top left there, and then Uwe or wannabe Uwe type games. Political games down below that. What's Your Game there on the right, plus other games that are, very prized possessions in our collection, stuff like that, and then a whole lot of Stronghold. And working our way down those two shelves as well. More Civ stuff, various ancient type theme games. Then we have Alban Viard in the bottom left corner there. So yeah, and Amanda's Dominion collection. And then this is the third of that back shelf, that column there, which we'll go over here in detail. So more filler type games at the very top shelf, and then a lot of Matt Gertz and classics. Then we have the Eagle Griffin / Vital section, and then the Stonemeyer games, as well as Reef Encounter. Now, the intentional purpose of Reef Encounter up there is to draw your eye to it because it's out of place. That's intentional so that maybe, in theory, it will one day be played again because I really want that played. So it's a very subtle, not so subtle, hey, why don't we play Reef Encounter? So, yeah, I don't know if it works. It hasn't yet, but we'll see. Then we have Tasty Minstrel down there. Then, let's see, we got Phil Eklund. The Key series, Richard Breeze area, and then some of the Ameritrash, and then the Bug section down there with March of the Ants, Mermies, and the expansion from March of the Ants. Then this is the closet, actually. These shelves could be taken out, put a door in front, boom, it's a closet. And these are just various other games that we haven't quite categorized yet. Yeah, so on the top left, we have the Fragger games, obviously. Then we have Hollandspiel, a small collection there. We have some MOA ideas there. Millennium Blades, and then kind of obscure games on the shelves below that, and kind of working our way down. Then we have Ameritrash on the bottom right, and then various other games on the bottom two shelves. Whew, there we go. So that right there is the first part of the library. I spent 3 hours going over that in detail previously. So that's done. That was a lot more tidy of a time. Yep, so part one, if you want to go over those in detail, we can do so. But that's not why y'all are here. And no, John, I have not played Promised Land yet. Eventually. There's going to be a lot of that today I haven't played it yet, but eventually, yeah. So let's just go ahead. All right. So the library tour part 2 begins now. So if you guys have seen the basement, then you've seen the main room. We have 3 tables in there, and I apologize I didn't have a picture ready for this. But we have 3 tables in the main room. We have a main wall on the back with a built-in fireplace on the wall, and then a big long shelf that runs the width of the room. That's where all the Essen games are currently. Down below those are what we're going to go over today. This is all the second part of the collection. So in the left-hand side of this wall are the 18XX games. All right? And yes, it's Earl Grey. All right, so you guys actually can see the 18XX collection here. This is most of it. It's not all of it. 18CZ has since come in, which you can kind of see peeking out in the bottom right, but we'll get to that later. So of these, I've actually played a fair number of them. Not all of them, but a fair number of them. I've played 22, 46, New York 60, 1880, AL. That's Sardinia over on the top right, that really tall one that's kind of obscured there by the divider on the built-ins. I have not played that one. I've played 79 and I've played OE. I've played small scenarios, medium scenarios, and the whole kit and caboodle with OE. So I've played a fair number of those. That's fair. That's not bad. 17, haven't gotten to it yet. I want to though. 22, just saying you may see that sooner rather than later. Yeah, and OE, it's as big as it looks and it weighs as much as it looks as well. All right. And John says 1880 he wants as his first 18XX. I might steer you away from that idea because it is such an odd duck and it plays so differently. I don't know that I would recommend that. Yes, 79, Kenny, is a Winsome. However, that's just a box and Tony made the stickers for the box and it just lives in there. That's all, just the end. All right. Nope, it's 79. It's just a boxed version. We'll get to the Winsome stuff here in a little bit. All right. So yeah, cool. All right. So we'll move on, shall we? All right. So then, moving to the right. Welcome to the rest of the Winsomes, the rest of the 18XX, and all of the Age of Steam stuff. All right, so the Winsomes up there on the top right, I've gone over those before and I didn't bring them up here with me. I apologize. But basically what that is 1857 and the last 2 years of Winsomes, because that's when I joined the subscription of it, was 2 years ago. Well, yeah, I guess 2 years ago now. And just FYI, just because games are in shrink doesn't mean I haven't played them. However, in 2038's case, that was a gift and I haven't gotten to it yet. Whoa. But we will. We will. There's plenty of time still in the future. So the Age of Steam stuff that you see here, all four of those boxes on the top shelf on the left there are all expansion maps. The box on the right underneath the Age of Steam box there are more expansion maps, as well as that entire stack below it are all expansion maps. The rolls, the tubes down below, are all expansion maps. We have since framed those, and if you've seen some of the pictures that we've taken of the basement, you'll see them framed. We have 3 or 4 in there because we realize that if they are in those tubes, we will never ever play them because out of sight, out of mind. Plus, they're a pain in the butt to try and get to lay flat. So we have them in the picture frames to try and get them to lay flat. All right. So, yeah. So this, I actually bought a massive Age of Steam collection when it went on sale. Somebody put it up on BGG and I bought it. This is a number of years ago at this point, and yeah, pretty happy with it. So SNCF, that is another Winsome, but again, it's just a custom-made box that we made for it. That's it. Andrew is like, wait, do you have any expansion maps? I assume that's sarcasm. We'll go over those later, a little bit more in detail, all right? So there at the bottom, you see 18CZ, that's the prototype that Lonnie sent us for HeavyCon, so folks could play it at HeavyCon before it was released. So that was very nice of them. But we have since gotten the published version of 18CZ, all right? All right, cool. All right, moving on. So here, and sorry about the weird angle, one of the tables actually sits right in front of this, and so I did the best I could, so forgive me. At the top shelf are more winsome games, actually. So you have Locomotive Works, German Railway, Chicago Express. Those are the three Queen game winsomes that I have. I don't have the original versions of those, so I have the Queen Games version of it. And that is the Age of Steam copy that we play whenever we stream it. That is the second edition Martin Wallace. And that is also the box that you see up above me. That's the cover of it. Down below, we have other train-themed games. So Silverton, Eurorails, Empire Builder, and Last Spike. None of which have I played. So the Crayon Rails, Ash is going to get us to try that at some point, which I would like to. Which Empire Builder, Eurorails, yeah. So looking forward to trying that. I don't know if I'll like them, but I'm looking forward to the experience at least. There you go. Right, that's pretty funny, Tony. He says Eurorails, one of the few games my wife will play, and it's a crayon rail game. Go figure. Yeah. So, and that actually, that envelope right there is more Age of Steam expansion maps from Bezier Games from back in the day. All right. And yes, Eder, the third edition is the one that comes with the plastic train pieces instead of the wooden discs. That's why we play with the second edition. And actually, if we go back, you can see that one on the top right there underneath all the winsome stack in the clamshells. That is a third edition of Age of Steam, which we just don't play. Cool. All right. All right, cool. So moving on. We're actually going a lot quicker on this one. All right, so now there is a gap underneath the fireplace, which you can just see kind of our blanket area on the left there, but moving on to the right, so we have our, I can't think of the name now, Jenga, thank you. It's a Jenga dice tower back there in the background. Somebody had made those on BGG, and I bought it in the virtual flea market for BGG-Con a number of years ago. Works really well. It's pretty cool. Good use of Jenga pieces. Our very first dice trays from Dinger, so thanks, Jason, for those. Those hang out down here in the basement. And then we have our Lazy Susan, which we use for various games, the Climbers, Dominion, yeah, stuff like that. All right. So now we begin, so okay, what you're going to look at here is the bottom of these shelves going to the right is our Martin Wallace collection, all right? And then the top shelf above it is going to be various things. So I think what we'll do is we'll just do this as we come across it. So these are all, at least they were, I can't remember if they still are, but they were in chronological order for when they were released. That might not be 100% right at this point, but they were at one point. By the way, and Franny brings up Tinner's Trail, we're going to have a giveaway for a copy of Tinner's Trail either probably later this month, I think, either on the podcast or during one of the live streams. We're not sure how we're going to do it yet, but Skippin', one of the guys in our group, graciously donated his used copy of Tinner's Trail. We're going to have a giveaway for that in a subsequent time somewhere on the show. All right. Welcome, Brad. All right. So there you go. So Martin Wallace stuff. So I should say I was a bit of a fanboy, and maybe less so now. There are a portion of these in which I have not played. We've played Liberté. We've played both versions of Princes of the Renaissance for the review. And I've played Tinner's Trail. And that's it. The rest we have not played yet, but we do want to. Everything in our collection eventually will get played. All right? Evening, Ulrich. All right, so yeah. So the beginning of the Martin Wallace collection here. And yeah, that copy of I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but how I butcher it is Bozy Ergoska, and I'm sure I'm totally butchering that. That is a very, very small release of a 4-player version of his game God's Playground. Yeah, set in Poland. So yeah, that's what Bozy is. Hello, Bev. All right, so moving on, keep going to the right. Oh, wait, those are out of order. There we go. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Oh, I put them in a wrong order. Boo. All right, so the top shelf here really isn't being used for what we intended it to be used for, which was whenever we have a game day, hey, put games here that you guys want to get played. So we have usually one game that we need to play for the show for reviews, and what else do y'all want to play? Well, in theory, we were going to use that top shelf. It's not quite working out that way. But maybe starting in January, we can try it again and see if we can get it working that way. So Thunder Alley, that's actually Brian's. I really enjoy everything about the way that game plays except for the end. Turf Master, another race game, and my Stratomatic that I'm prized possession of ours there. All right. Oh, wow. Emilis, is that how you say it? Welcome from Lithuania. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, and see, I'm trying to do these during the day as possible for you folks over in Europe and Asia. All right. All right, cool. So we'll talk about that Indonesia thing here in a minute. So continuing the Martin Wallace stuff there at the bottom. So God's Playground. And who was it? Somebody said, AKA Gather Points, Why Poland Burns. Yeah, that seems about right. Steel Driver, another enjoyable, albeit a bit disjointed, the way the end game works, the final scoring, but played that one. Automobile, another one that we really, really enjoy that I would love to stream that sometime. We should do that. Yeah. So Age of Industry, haven't played it yet. Brass, which that one also has the Catalonia map in it, the two-player Catalonia print and play map in it. London we've played. We also have the new version from Osprey, which we have not gotten to yet, from Essen. And then a couple of his Waros there, Gettysburg and Waterloo. Haven't gotten either of those as well. Well, I said I tried, Vince. Okay. Yeah, the brass box, sorry about that. It's just, it's got so much stuff in it because of the Catalonia map in there, it doesn't close anymore. So, well, sorry. Sorry about that, Jerry. All right, so that Indonesia that you see there, this is one of the benefits of having friends. So I guess I've mentioned it before, so I don't think it's a big deal for me to mention it. It is not available, so before you ask, okay? But this is, there are, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these in existence. So Tommy, and back when Lee was at Meeple Realty, they got permission from Jeroen and Joris to make a custom box, a wood engraved box that's in 6 pieces. So the 4 thin edge pieces and then the top and bottom. Everything is engraved on it. So everything on the original Indonesia box, all the writing that's on the side, that's all on this box. And that is, I was fortunate enough, I asked and I was able to get one, and they made me one. And yeah, so that is very much one of my prized possessions. That custom, very, I mean, it's a wooden box, right, in 6 pieces, but still, it's what it represents. It's one of my favorite publishers. It's from Meeple Realty, our friends over there. So yeah, that was pretty cool. That was very nice of them to make that available for us. So thanks again to everybody involved in that. So that was really, really cool. All right, so going back on now. All right, that is almost all, well, that's the remainder of the Martin Wallace collection, and that is all of my splotters, except for one, because my original box of Antiquity, the one that you see on the top right there, is the brand new edition. It is currently in Little Rock, Arkansas with Bev. When she came out to visit, she said she didn't have a copy of Antiquity, and that was one of the games she most wanted to play. We didn't have time, so I said, you know what, I have the new edition. We're going to live stream the new edition on Sunday. Go ahead and take the first edition, or well, I guess technically second edition, and then bring it back to me at HeavyCon. So that is all that I have in my possession as is. Yeah, I know, they're kind of especially food chain. I know it's horrible. I know. But yeah, so going, and I guess, woof, wow, Great Zimbabwe too, huh? So Great Zimbabwe on the left, roads and boats, food chain magnate, and then that is the new version of Indonesia in Shrink. We've played it, we just haven't played my copy. Cons, which is kind of roads and boats light with very original art in that, I think is a good way to put it. Some people really like it, others not so much. But cons, I really like that game. Amanda really dislikes that game. But it's kind of roads and boats light is a good way to describe it, I think. Then there's the first edition of Indonesia, which is what that box was modeled after, the one from Maple Realty. Now, just to the right of the right-hand side Indonesia and to the left of Greed Inc., you see what looks like kind of punch boards. Those are actually the new version of Grayson's custom Indonesia board. And this is the one that uses the cubes and everything else that he accidentally left with us. Long story, going back to HeavyCon last year, and I was going to send it, and he said, you know what, if you're going to get use out of it, go ahead and keep it, I'll make another one. So we did, so that was very cool. And I think if we ever live stream Indonesia a second time, I think we may use that board and show the customization that's available to help make that less cluttered, I think. And that's really the one real operations can get a little cluttery, which if you've played Indonesia, you're familiar with. So there's that, all right? Oh, good call, Andrew. The Splatter 20th edition of Keek was pretty cool. It was. It's more or less a look back at 20 years of Splatter. That's part of the Essen Hall, so that's why it's not in this picture. But I thought it was really cool that they included a picture of the Golden Elephant Award in that. So that made me feel pretty awesome. That was really, really cool. So Dave, not a big fan of cons, I take it? Really? Oh, wait. Never mind. That's a Star Trek reference. A little slow on the uptake today. It's been a bit of a day, so forgive me. Yeah, so Greed Inc. I'm very excited to try it. Have not yet. And the second edition of Antiquity is y'all are going to see that on Sunday, yeah? Then finishing up the Martin Wallace collection, we have First Train Nuremberg, A Few Acres of Snow. That is the first edition of A Study in Emerald. Amanda played the second edition and abhorred it. She really disliked that game. But she's willing to try the first edition because it plays so significantly different. Mythotopia, I think I got for $5, so I was willing to take a look at it. Ships from last year, the Arrival from last year, as well as just sitting on top of the Arrival box there is the tiny mini expansion for the Arrival as well. All right, cool. So that is the remainder of the main part of this, of the stuff that's not in the main library. That's the majority of it anyway, all right? So let's continue on here. Let me, give me a moment. All right, so now, speaking of Albin Viard maps, that's what you're looking at there in the back. The framed one, that one is Moscow, and there's a couple more that are underneath that. So we got 3 or 4, I think it was 3, of the IKEA frames, and we put 3 or 4 maps in each of those and then put the backing on it, and makes really nice wall art for your game room, but also helps keep them flat. And you can play it right there on the top of it, of the picture frame. Just set the picture frame on the table. So that's a nice little perk as well. And then our 2 games that we have from Theta. Fire on the left, Saturn on the right. Matt, ever going to get to sorting Antiquity, Cave Hines asks. His copy that we brought back from Essen is already sorted. We're probably going to play his. But yeah, between him and Amanda, they'll be sorting our copy of Antiquity because that thing's a disaster still. All right, so we'll start with Fire there on the left. So it's kind of it's not really a dexterity game. The goal of the game is to push out the sticks. It's kind of a Jenga-esque type game in which you have to push out the pieces, the wood logs that are in the fireplace there without anything above it or adjacent moving. And if it can move just a tiny hair, but if it's to the judgment of all the players, nope, that judged too much, it then has to go back to the top of it. And then once we all agree it's impossible for any moves left to be made, we score, and you get points based on the big, medium, and small logs. So that's Fire. We got that for 30 bucks in a local auction here a number of years ago. And Amanda saw that and she was like, Edward, it's Fire. And I was like, what? Oh, the box. Very unmistakable box, Theta Games. Then an accidental addition to our collection was Saturn. So Saturn is one of the pretty rare, pretty obscure logic games from Theta. Rest in peace, Theta Games. But I bought that for $125. It normally goes for about twice that. And this is probably 4 years ago, I think it was. 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I bought it with the intention of basically just probably reselling it to help the collection, to be able to put more money back into the collection. But, and this is before the show existed. However, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, we then played the game. And then we really liked the game. So we kept the game. There you go. So Saturn, everybody has a color of the planets there, or asteroids. So you have red, blue, purple, and light purple. And all the rings start level-ish. And then you have 3 different pivot points for the 3 different rings. And you're going to get points based on the size of the planet or the moon or asteroid or whatever, I guess moon, that you're going to place on the ring multiplied by the ring that it's on. So the inner ring's worth 1 point, middle's 2, outer 3, small moon is 1 point, middle moon 2 points, the large moon 3 points, and the game ends when nobody can safely place another moon. However, a legal placement is if the ring that you place on does not rest on the table after you're done putting it on there. So yeah, pretty simple game, but really clever, really cool. Plus, I mean, it looks cool. So there's that, right? And Jared says, remember, seeing Saturn reminds me of the Zen stream. So that was a total ooh, look, we got our new table. We got our BoardGameTables.com table. Let's show it off. And then it just kind of grew from there, and then we just started being goofy with it. But cool. Glad people dug that. Let's see. Yeah, I wouldn't spend that much either. And like I said, Dave, I spent $125 on Saturn with the intention of not keeping it, but it happens. What do you do? So yeah, I guess they are moons. So there we go. All right. So there's only one left, guys. There's only one picture, one area left. It's a little disorganized. I apologize. And that is our other shelf. So this is to the right of everywhere that we just were. So you can see the couch behind it, where for the home theater area. So this is just odds and ends. Now it's a little disorganized. It's about to be a whole lot fuller when we start putting Essen games in there. But what this is stuff that we're considering actually reviewing on the show at some point, or at least going to play for the show to at least talk about, whether it's trailer or whether it's full review, etc. However, that StarCraft that you see at the top is not mine. Skippin actually loaned that out to us so we could try it because we enjoyed Forbidden Stars and thought that might make for a good stream in the spring So at some point, we're going to tackle that and maybe stream that as well. Down below that, in that suitcase, that's Matt's accessory suitcase. That's his kind of go bag, like whenever we go to cons or whatever, he'll carry that with him. It's got poker chips, it's got little dishes, it's got dry erase markers, it's got just a whole bunch of odds and ends type things that you want to be able to have at a game day that you might not if you go to a convention, so he tends to bring that with him. Pretty useful little thing, pretty cool little box that he put together there. Yeah, and then that's the puzzle that was that they were doing while I was at BGGCon down there in the bottom right. So puzzles have become a thing on one of the tables here at HCHQ as well. So Andrew's like, and now I'm looking at $200 copies of Saturn on BGG. It's a cool game. Would I personally spend $200 on it if I didn't have it? Probably not. So judge accordingly. I would recommend trying it first before pulling the trigger. There's usually copies available, unlike the one of my Grail games, which is Horus, that I have never seen for sale, and I've heard stories when it does go on sale, it's $400 to $500, and that's just never going to happen for me. I'm okay with that. And yeah, that little box right there is my favorite of the Paco games that I've played so far, and that's Hue, H-U-E, a really clever, really well implemented little tile laying game, I guess is a good way to describe it, even though they're not tiles in the traditional sense of the word, but really clever game. Matt turned us on to that, and I had to have a copy. I picked one up at Essen, along with a few of the others, which I haven't played yet. But if you guys get a chance, highly recommend checking out Hue by Paca Games. Really good game for literally the smallest box that it's the size of a pack of gum, you know, like Wrigley's pack of gum type thing. All right, so let's see what else. Runer says, Barcelona on the left from last year's Essen? Yep, that is correct. Don't know that we're ever going to stream it. We think that game has one significant issue about it, which we've talked about in the past, but we'll see. Rhine River Trade, that may be one that we stream again since we streamed it downstairs, and we haven't since we've been in the studio. Then we have Colony, we have Evolution Climate, Submerg and the expansion, Whistle Stop. Lignum is just... Capstone finally returned my review copy of Lignum. So story on that was he was worried that copies of Lignum wouldn't make it available or wouldn't be there in time for Origins when we were going out there. So he asked us to bring our review copy back. So he had a demo copy, and then Clay forgot to give it back to us. So we got that sometime after Gen Con. Then... I can't remember the year on the Academy game. The Waro that's next to that. Cable Car, Sagrada, Sentient, Barren Park, and then, like I said, our puzzle down there at the bottom. Lotus is a very pretty game, agreed. Kabuki Kid asks, would you ever consider a live play of Game of Thrones? Maybe with the Feast for Crows expansion, what makes it work well with 4 players? I would certainly entertain the idea, Kabuki Kid. I am not opposed to that. I'm curious. And I don't mean this in any antagonistic way. I'm curious, is that something that, because I know you work with the guys over on Dice Tower, is that something that they would live stream? Or is it you would like to get our take and to see on our show how we live stream it? Or I'm curious why the interest in that, Kabuki Kid. Just curious, that's all. Andrew, a top 6 Grail games would be a fun, costly episode. It will come eventually. Like, what were my top 6, and then what are my 6 Grail games that, like, still hunting, so to speak. I think that would be really, that'd be a fun top 6 to do. I agree. Yeah, there you go. Paint sample lane. There you go, Cave Hines. That's a good way to describe Hue. Okay, Shh is another good one. So the pack of games, not only are they all like in a little stick of gum, size box, but they all have 3 letters as well. Hue, H-U-E, sh, S-H-H, and there are others. Kenny says, stream Rhine River Trade again, because I can't spend money on it again. I already have it. That's funny. Colorado can be a mean game. Agreed. No, I did not get green meeples. Wait, no, are they green meeples painted purple, or are they purple meeples painted green? I can't remember, but they're whatever the original ones were, Brad. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that it'd be a bigger, I guess it is a longer game, isn't it? So yeah, that makes sense, Kabuki Kid. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, that's cool. All right. So yeah, that's considerably shorter. I realize that's 45 minutes versus 3 hours. But we're not done. We can be done. That's all the games. But I thought that it might be interesting. I'm not going to do this for all of them, mind you. But I thought y'all might be interested in some of this other stuff. So, a moment. So if you're so interested, I brought up a lot of stuff. Basically, it's all SNCF and Age of Steam maps. Like I said, I am not going to go over them all. I am not going to go through them all, but I will quickly leaf through them if you were so inclined. Okay? So, let's start off here at the top. Well, here. So, just to give you an idea, let's move this stuff out of the way first. Ugh. So we have 5 boxes full of Age of Steam maps, plus the majority of the stuff that I just moved off. All right? So, is anybody interested in this? Do you guys want to see them, or should we just end it here? We should just end it here? What do you think? I'll drink some water and let you guys decide. Well, there's one person that wants to see them. All right. All right, let's do it. Now, these are not in a specific order as of this time. And before we start this, though, and like I said, I am not going to go through each and every map and spend a lot of time because we don't have that much time. I'm not going to do hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of this. So instead, what I am going to do is I'm going to show you the most important thing that if you have not gotten a copy of this and you do not have it on your computer, I recommend you doing so. And that is the spreadsheet for all the Age of Steam maps that are in existence. So if it's highlighted, we own it. It is in all of these. All right. So this spreadsheet, and I will link it down here in the bottom of the show notes when we're done here. But this spreadsheet shows not only what map it is, who the designer is, and some other notes, but it also is what it's best at by number of players. And in fact, I will go and zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see that. So to give you an idea, so the number of players, I'll stop moving it. There we go. So number of players, it shows whether or not it's a good map, meaning 1 plus sign, or excellent map at that player count. And this is the single most important thing that you take into account when it comes to Age of Steam, in my opinion, is matching the player count with the map. Okay, if you play a game on a map, say for instance, you wanted to play 1867 Georgia Reconstruction, 4 players, probably not a good idea because it's best at 2. That makes sense? So basically, if it has 1 plus sign, sure, go for it. If it doesn't have any marks, it just has these dashes or whatever on it, please don't do that, okay? That makes for a very unpleasant experience for it, all right? So like the Bay Area map, that's good at both 3 and 4 players, and it's brutal at 4 players, right? Yeah, all right? So the question marks, not sure, you know, nobody has answered that, so. All right, and this is just pages and pages of all the maps. And I want to say there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 160 to 180 expansion maps. So this goes through and you see all the maps that we have between the 4 pages. Okay, cool. So that done, let's go and open this puppy up. Let's go through some of these then, okay? And yes, Alexander, we do have 20,000 Rails Under the Sea. Have not played it yet. Like I said, these are not in any specific order, so bear with me, all right? All right. So, oh boy. All right, so the way these are done, various different, all the maps are with their rules inside of here. So there's, you know, we have Ted Alspach's sharing, we have the Essen Spiel from years ago from Bezier. There's the rules for it. Secret blueprints. Hold on, let me get through some of these. Okay. There we go. Alabama Railways. And so the way I have sort of organized these, and eventually we're going to get like the those little drop file cabinets that you can put all these in. So different rules for Berlin there. Puerto Rico. Sorry, these are upside down. Yeah, they all are, so let's turn that back around the other way. All right, so London. Oh, the 2-player Portugal map. I'm sorry, this is Scotland. Sorry, wrong one. Never mind. So Scotland, okay. Some of these are print in place, some of these are mounted boards. And your original expansion. And then Time Traveler is down underneath that as well. So all the different boards for Time Traveler. So that's the first box. All right, 1 down, 4 to go, plus others. Ignore what this says on it. That's not at all how they are, okay? More Bezier and some of his mounted maps here. And these are all mounted maps. So Tasmania and Australia, Outer Space and Reaver Stream. Well, you guys can read. You don't need me to. This one, pretty tough, pretty hard. Ours is still in shrink, but we've played Paul Chad's copy. Pretty hard maps. All right, that's second box. The mounted maps are heavier and they take up a ton more room in the boxes. All right. Ooh, you guys should know what that is. We've live streamed that one. And because of our live stream, we were able to make that a print and play now. The Zombie Apocalypse map. So that was really, really cool that was able to come about. And there you go, the zombie apocalypse map. Eastern US and Canada. Then we have, that's the rules for that. Then we have Paris and Moscow. These are the original ones, not the reprint fancy ones that we have framed downstairs. All right, these come in multiple pieces like that. Some of the different maps come with their own locomotive boards and everything else like this. It all depends on how what the designer did, and there are dozens of different designers. So Montreal Metro, this is definitely one that's going to get streamed from the Age of Steam team. This is one of the best 3-player Age of Steam maps out there, right there. All right. Oh, that's the other half of, wow, this is an old one. I don't know which one this was. Wow, that's an old map. Let me keep going, hold on. So Madagascar, this is the goods display for Madagascar there. From Albin 2009. Different pieces for it there. Cyclades, or Cyclades. Another of Albin's maps from 2011. And then they're always double-sided. Not always, but a lot of the time in Greece. Well, Ted said if he gets 500 people interested, he'll redo the maps and be willing to make them available as print and plays. So, and then the second expansion and the fourth expansion, the actual mounted ones. Okay, so that's what we got there. So that's now 2 of 4 boxes. Are you guys enjoying seeing these? I think. Yeah, I think there's a thread on BGG, Alexander. Disoriented Express. Oh, hey, look, it's DC. You're going to see this one next week, guys. Oh, wait, hashtag spoiler. Yep. So you're going to see that map next week. All right, so probably ought to keep that one out. Why don't we do that? A lot more of the mounted ones. Yep. So we got Mississippi Steamboats and Golden Spike, Europe, and I believe this is Vermont. Yeah, it is. And Vermont, all right. And California Gold Rush is in there as well. And the Underground Railroad. Now, just because we're done with the boxes doesn't mean we're done after this. Ooh. Ooh. 20,000 Rails Under the Sea. This is how it comes. This is number 122 out of 180. And to give you an idea, it's all hand cut tiles like this. We need to play this sometime. We need to play all these, but I mean, there's only so many hours in a day, right? And then the rules come in an old CD case like that. And that's the rules folded up right there. All right. Kyle says he just ordered the DC map. Finland and Portugal. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of the old Boer maps, the old Winsome maps now. So Portugal. Finland. These I do want to keep in their order because Portugal and Finland go together like that. All right. The Alps. Okay, not always. So like I said, they're not always in order. So we have another Alban Viard one. North and South Korea. That one's pretty brutal. Pretty tough to play. Let me turn these over. There we go. There, that'll be easier. And the tunnels. So obviously we have not played with this one yet, but what you can do with this is on the box side, you actually put the tunnels on there and you actually travel through the actual box as a tunnel to be able to go through the mountains. So I thought that was kind of an ingenious idea. That was pretty cool. So this one is Tibet from 2012 from Alban. Plus that, all right. Vegas, another Alban 2012 map. Also double-sided. North and South Korea. This is going to be Mediterranean Sea. Another Alban map. So. And this is a big one too. This is a physically large map. And then the airlines expansion as well. Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. So yeah, Alban has designed a ton of these maps. Railroad switches. Thank you, Jared. Great Britain, there and there. And there. This one is Belgium. There. Put that inside. Hungary. And not only are they different maps, but they all have rule breakers that make them their own map. Some obviously better than others, but still. Now, I don't know what this one is. Give me a minute. Oh, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, here. Old Winsome one. All right. Cool. So we haven't even started with the Steam Brothers maps, though. So the Steam Brothers maps all come, as did a lot of, or some at least, of Bezier Games' maps, come in oversized manila envelopes. Like these. All right. So in here are going to be various maps, obviously. So, one of my favorites, if not my favorite, Age of Steam map. So we have Soul Train, which we played this previously as well. So there, Soul Train goes there, and then it flips over, so heaven. Yep, so you're saving souls. And then on the other side, burn, baby, burn, Disco Inferno. All right, cool, yeah, here we go. And the rules for both of them. Yeah, this is one that I would really, really like to see more people get access to. Is it the best map? No, but theme-wise, I think it is. I think it's awfully cool. Really, really big fan of that one. All right, so then, hold on, let's finish with Bezier. I got those in the wrong envelope. That's all right. Oh, what's this? A second Soul Train, you say? Huh. Can't imagine what might happen with that one. Huh. All right, moving on. And now we have all of, the Steam Brothers. A lot of the Steam Brothers maps. Now, this isn't a hard, fast thing, but a lot of them are these oversized laminated one. So, then we have special place in my heart, obviously. This is truly the first heavy cardboard thing made, was this. So this was made specifically for HeavyCon 1. It's actually available as a print and play. Actually a really good 4 and 5 player map. There's a newer version of this. It's been updated since this, but this is the original one. Yeah, so very, very special place in my heart here. And yes, Dave, I would lose 1 point in Disco Inferno if it was not my turn. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So all the cities are named after games that we reviewed. Same with the little towns, the whistle stops. And it has one of the cooler mechanisms, I think, is the heavy lifting, the delivery over land via elephant. So yeah. But yeah, this is available as a print and play on BGG, and it's a really, really good map for 4 and 5 players. So I'm glad that turned out that way. And huge thanks to the Kansas City fellas for designing this. Kevin McCurdy, Chad Deshawn as part of that, Paul Chad, who is now ours, but hails from that group. And yeah, they all had a hand in this, so really special place in my heart for that. New England map. Ooh. I probably shouldn't show that. Bay Area. There we go. So, all right. 1830s Pennsylvania as well. Now the Steam Brothers maps. So all of these. Now I don't know the history of who these guys are, or why they stopped, or they just moved on, or anything. But they all come on these laminated sheets. You guys can see. Yeah, you can see that they're laminated there. And almost all of them, and I don't want to speak out of line, but almost all of them have their own goods display with special actions down here, or at least a lot of them do. So we have India, we have Austria, we have South Africa, and the Northeast US. So they're mixed up in here, but you get the idea what they look like. A little bit more graphically involved, the mountains. Looks good, I think. Chicago, Brazil, more Chicago, the other side of it. Chicago goods display. Spain's, let's see, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, Chicago, and Mexico. That obviously looks like Mexico, so there you go. So this is actually a really, really pretty big map, kind of. So probably going to be a higher player count. So I actually have to zoom out to get it all in there. There you go. Yep. Oh, the Hexpansion and Moon Expansion by Albin back in 2010. London with the Tims going through. And J.C. Lawrence's the sun, which I've heard very, very good things about. There's the other, oh, Orient Express from Bezier. There's the other part of India. There's the other part of the sun. And London on the other side. And then the sun also has, it's somewhere in here, there we go. London, and there you go, there's the sun's production, and it's all on one sheet there. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm not sure if JC has this up as a print and play or not. And the other side being London, China, South America. The Austria in capital one there, and China there. All right, cool. Oh, okay. All right, JC has said all of his are available for print and play. So there you go. And I've heard, like I said, I've heard amazingly very good things about the sun map. I don't know about London. I don't know that I've heard anything about it, to be honest. So that's all the Steam Brothers maps and others. And then we have all various other things, SNC maps, etc. here. So so for HeavyCon 2, I believe it was, in 2016, Tony designed that, along with rules here, that we have not made available yet. We may down the road, but we still have some copies to give away. So we still have that for SNCF. We got Queen Games and Winsome Games' blessing to go ahead and make those available for attendees of HeavyCon back in 2016. SNC Germany and Iberia I got. SNC the Netherlands. And then for something a little bit different, which I need help with. So if anybody out there wants to translate, I have, Tony ordered a bunch of these. So 18SY, 18SS, 18NK, and 1891. They're all in Japanese. So if somebody wants to get on translating, I'd appreciate it. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Because these are all kits. So you have to cut all these out, laminate them, if you want to go that route. Let's see. Then just some of the other all-spec maps. So there's that 1867 Georgia Reconstruction. There you go. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So there you go. That's the majority of our Age of Steam collection. So yeah, that's what we got. All right. So yeah, that's the library tour. That's all I got. I'm trying to see if there's any questions. Oh, hey Rob. Thanks for stopping by. And all right, sleep well. Cool. So there you go. That's the rest of the library outside of the Essen stuff, which I did 3 unboxings. So it should give you guys an idea of what all came in from Essen. All right. So there you go. I appreciate everybody that joined me. Definitely. So later on tonight, we're going to have our first ever Glory to Rome session, which is a non-PC, not safe for work live stream that's available to patrons only. We're going to be playing, and I actually didn't bring it in here with me. We're going to be playing the Black Box edition of Glory to Rome. So yeah, thought that'd be a fun way to start the Glory to Rome sessions. And that was the impetus for our Glory to Rome board. So if you're a patron, hope you join us tonight. If you're not a patron, well, you can consider supporting us. There's 600-ish after all the hubbub that's going down with Patreon. You can go to pledgehc.com, support the show if you want, annually, or through Patreon. You will have links for both there. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe. So yeah, thanks everybody. So I'm off for the next few hours to get ready for Glory to Rome. And for patrons, I'll see you tonight. Otherwise, let's see, tomorrow is Saturday. We will see you tomorrow for Agra. All right? Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Later.